If you're struggling with your bar chords, then this is the video to watch. Here are my 5 top tips for you to get better at bar chords. So first things first, don't be thinking that bar chords are these horrible, evil things that make playing guitar really, really hard. They are not. Bar chords are supposed to make your life easier because you can play every single chord with one hand shape, and that is awesome. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, these bar chords are really tricky, I can't get my fingers around them, I'm never going to be able to play them, then stop thinking that, because by the end of this video, you're going to be able to play bar chords as well as anybody else. Understanding how the bar chord work is job number 1 to getting better at your bar chords. So first thing to be aware of is your index finger. Here is tip number 1. Index finger is boss. We follow the index finger. Whatever note your index finger is on will be the note of your bar chord. For most people, the main problem with their bar chord is actually due to the strength of their index finger. That's why in my 20 lesson beginner guitar class, I start with just playing with one finger to strengthen your index finger to get it ready for playing bar chords. So if you're struggling to connect with all the strings right across the fretboard with your bar chord, then maybe it might be an idea to play some one finger songs and build up the strength in that index finger so it gets used to playing across all 6 strings and connecting with every single one. Make sure you're connecting the tip of your index finger with the bottom string or the string that you're wanting to play the bar chord on. There is no use having your finger coming off the top of the guitar like this. That's not going to help your bar chord. Drop your finger down so the tip of your finger is on the string, and that will give you the best connection possible. Now, if your first finger is nice and strong and you're still finding it hard to connect, then it might be because your finger is coming flat down onto the strings. When we're playing bar chords, we're actually going to roll the index finger round slightly so that we're connecting with the side of our finger, not the flat of our finger. To do this, place your index finger straight across the fret and then roll your wrist forwards slightly away from the guitar, and that will pull your finger onto the side a little bit here. This is going to give you a better connection, and it actually moves me on to point number 2, which is your thumb. When we're doing bar chords, your thumb isn't going to be behind your index finger. It's actually going to be in the middle of your bar chord, in the fret that's going to be between your 3rd finger and your index finger. So our hand, when we're doing bar chords, is something like this. With my thumb in the middle of my hand, my index finger slightly on its side, and then I'm going to bring in my other fingers, which we'll talk about in a second. But the thumb placement is really, really important. If your thumb is behind your first finger, then you're going to be stretching always forwards with your other fingers, and that's going to choke the sound, and it's going to make it a lot harder to do your bar chords. So tip number 2 is get your thumb in the right place. Middle of the neck, in between your first finger and your 3rd finger. So if you've got your index finger slightly turned with your thumb in the right place, you're already on the right lines to getting a better bar chord. Remember where your wrist is, it should be slightly forwards of the guitar, but be careful that you're not pulling your elbow in and being all tight with your arm. We need to be loose, we need to be relaxed. It's the wrist that's just pulling forward slightly to bring my index finger onto its side. I've got my thumb in the right place. Now I need to add my 3rd and 4th fingers. Your 3rd and 4th finger will always sit 1 string and 1 fret up from your index finger. 3rd finger comes in first, and then bring in the pinky. Both of these fingers need to be absolutely on their tips so that you're not touching any of the higher strings above those fingers. A lot of people find that they're muting the higher strings, and that's because their pinky is coming in flat onto the strings. We need to curve that finger round to get a much better connection, and then you'll hear the higher strings ringing out too. Your 3rd and 4th fingers will always move together. They are stuck together. I want them to move together as a unit. So if your 3rd and 4th finger are on their tips, then we can add in the middle finger. Now the middle finger when it comes to bar chords is our major or minor finger. It always sits on the next string up from your pinky in the middle fret. So I put my index finger on the note I want. Let's say I want to play a G bar chord. I'm going to place my index finger on the G, fret 3 of my bottom string. I'm then going to bring in my third finger and pinky on the next 2 strings up, 1 fret up from my index finger. And then my middle finger is going to sit in the middle fret on the next string up from my pinky. In this case, the 3rd string, the G string, but if I was on the A string, then it would be on the B string, the 2nd string. When I'm on the E string, my middle finger makes my bar chord major. No middle finger will make my bar chord minor. When I'm playing bar chords on the A string, then my middle finger will make it minor, and by flattening my pinky, it will make it major. Major with my pinky, minor with my middle finger. So the E string, middle finger makes it major. On the A string, middle finger makes it minor. Now, this isn't a normal, comfortable position for your hand to be in. It is going to take a little bit of practice to get used to positioning your hand like this. But it's worth taking the time because, as I said, you can play every single chord using this one hand shape. G major, A major, B major, C major, D major, F major, F sharp major. All of them done with my bar chord shape and all of them played on my low E string. So that is my tip number 5. Practice them on the E string first. Get used to playing and getting a good connection across the whole guitar on the bottom string and move between your dots if you want a way of practicing. 3 up to 5, up to 7, up to 9. If you've got a cutaway on your guitar and it's easy, move up to fret number 12 and do one up there as well, and then move back again. And as I'm doing this, my whole hand is moving as a unit. I lock my hand in place, I let go of the pinch and slide my fingers up to the next dot where I pinch again, and then I let go of my pinch, I slide my hand as a unit to the next dot. As we get higher up the fretboard, the stretch between my index finger and my 3rd finger will get closer as the frets get closer. As I move back down, then my 1st finger needs to just stretch away a little bit from the rest of the hand to get over the fret wire as the frets get slightly further apart. So moving up the neck, we're going to move a bit closer together. Moving down the neck, we're going to stretch a little bit further apart. It's not a massive difference, but it's an important thing to remember. We want our fingers in the middle of the frets, not over the wires. So those are my 5 top tips for your bar chords. Number 1, think about your 1st finger. Is it on the side of your finger? Is it on the flat of your finger? Make sure it's on the side with the tip of it connecting. Number 2, where is your thumb? It should be in the middle of your hand, not behind your 1st finger, and it should be in the middle of the guitar neck. Number 3, your 3rd and 4th fingers should always be together. They move together as a unit, and they should be on their tips. Number 4, your middle finger makes it major or minor, depending on which string you're on. Remember, E string major, A string minor. And number 5, your whole hand moves as a unit. Lock it together, let go of your pinch, and move everything as a unit, including your thumb. Everything moves together. Couple of little bonus tips for you if you're still struggling with your bar chords, and do give yourself time to practice this. Place your fingers in the right places. Use your picking hand to move your fingers to get them right. Once your hand has learned how to do it, you will always be able to do it. Develop the muscle memory, build it up slowly, give yourself time, and trust me, you will be able to do bar chords very, very soon. But a couple of little bonus tips if you're still struggling. Number 1, practice power chords first. Power chords just play the bottom 3 strings, the ones closest to you, and they only use the index finger, 3rd finger, and pinky. You don't even have to use your pinky if you don't want to, but to help with your bar chords, I would definitely advise it. Make sure your thumb is in the right place and your index finger is connecting with that bottom string. And practice just aiming for those low strings to make the power chord first. This is a lot easier because your 1st finger isn't having to connect all the way along it for every single string. So it's a good way of getting used to the hand shape of a bar chord without having to play the whole thing. Bonus tip number 2, practice moving between the E and the A string on your power chords before you start doing them as bar chords. So I can play fret 3 on my E string, move my hand up onto the A string, get used to this shape here, and play my power chord on the A string there. I can move to fret 5 on my E string and move it across onto the A string, getting used to the movement between the two strings. We're only really going to be doing bar chords on the bottom 2 strings, the E and the A string. So you don't need to be practicing moving across every single string. Play on the E, move across onto the A string, play on the A, move to a different dot. Fret 7 right now, I'm going to play there. I'm going to get used to moving each finger onto the next string, use my picking hand to get my fingers in place if needs be, and play it on there as well. Final little tip, if you're still struggling, and if you are, please let me know in the comments and I will try to help you, or go over to the Facebook group, Your Music Questions Answered by Bertie, and show me a video or take a picture of your hand and I will give you advice on what you're doing wrong if you're still struggling to do these bar chords. Final little bonus tip is to reverse your bar chord. This is where you're going to come from the top of the fretboard, barring across the top 2 strings with your index finger, then bringing in your middle finger, then your pinky, and then your 3rd finger. Now this is still playing a bar chord shape. The reason why this is a good way of getting used to your bar chord is your 3rd finger and your pinky still need to curve over onto their tips so that the higher strings can still sound. This will get your 3rd finger and your pinky used to being on their tips, curving over and getting in the right position. After you've got that right, you can then bring the index finger down onto the bottom string so that we can connect there as well. And if all else fails, bring your thumb up and connect with your thumb. Still a bar chord, just a slightly different way of doing it. I hope that has helped you understand what the bar chord does and how to do it a little bit better. Like I said, give yourself time, practice it, get used to putting your fingers in that position. It's not a normal thing for your hand to do, but your hand will learn how to do it if you teach your hand to do it properly. Strengthen up that 1st finger, that is the most important thing, and make sure that your fingers are in the right place. As always, any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to help you out, or head over to the Facebook group, the link's in the description, and ask me any questions on there. If you found this video helpful, make sure you click that thumbs up button and the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you for another lesson very soon.